Hello, everyone, and welcome to StephenPlays. My name is Stephen George. I play video games, and today it's a brand new LP, Photoshop. Now, some of you are saying, Photoshop's not actually a game. Well, screw you, because yes, it is. You could play tic-tac-toe and some other things on it, but no, we're going to be using it as a software today. Photoshop is. Hold on, sorry, I forgot I was on this site. Let's just make a new tab. Photoshop is a really powerful utility used for arts, graphics, design, etc., etc. I am very familiar with Photoshop. I use it on a daily basis, and I'm going to be here today to try and spread some of my expertise in Photoshop to you guys so you can improve your projects. Now, the first thing we're going to want to do is come up here to Photoshop, File, and hit New, and it's going to ask us how big we want our new canvas. Now, we are going to be making a background today, so we're going to do 1920 by 1080. This is a 16:9 background. You guys might have a 16:10 background. If you have a 16:10 background, that's going to be 1200. The reason I'm doing it at this resolution is because that's the resolution of my screen, but you might have something else. So hit OK. So this is our background. This is what we have so far. Right now, it's white. We need to change that. We need to put some art in here. And trust me, if anyone knows art, it's me. I went to an art college, making me an instant artist, knowing everything about art, traditional art, digital art. I know pretty much everything. As a side note, if you want to make digital art like me, you do have to own a Macintosh computer. It's the only way. I'm sorry. There's a lot of people out there who own like Windows computers. It's impossible actually to make art on a Windows computer. You can't do it. Uh, I don't that do they even make Photoshop for the only thing they make for Windows computers are games, and Excel. So, and actually, there's Excel for the Mac, and it runs a lot better on the Mac than it does on the Windows computer. So, if you have a Windows computer, I would recommend that you go down to your local hardware store and buy a mallet and smash it because you're gonna have to buy a Mac. And the great thing is, when you're done with your Mac and it's time to upgrade, you can use that same mallet to smash your Mac, and then buy a new Mac because they only can upgrade like the RAM and stuff. So it's best to just buy a new computer if you can. Buy them every year. That's the best. And Macs are very inexpensive. They're only going to run you for a high-end Mac Pro like $5,000. So just try to buy one every year if you can, and keep that mallet handy because you are going to need to smash the old ones because they are about as upgradable as a pie. So now we have our canvas, which is excellent. What we need to do is put some art in here. Now, what you want to do really is blatantly steal and use other people's art and then try and pass it off as your own because that is what the greatest artists do. So what we're going to do is we have some images here. We have the Gilbert Stuart Williamstown portrait of the George Washington.jpg. This is in public domain. All the pictures I'll be using today are in public domain. So we're going to take this picture and copy it. We'll come over here to Photoshop and paste it in. And this is a really good starting point for a background or for any piece of art, is using something historical and patriotic. That is going to touch the hearts of lots of people. A lot of people are going to be enthusiastic. When you show your art, they may cry. And that's what you really want. You want people to cry because if people cry, you have them in the bag. You can charge them whatever you want. Okay, so now we have this picture of George Washington, which is excellent. I'm going to come over here to this picture of this bull. And you're probably saying, well, how are these related? And that's the beauty of art. Art doesn't have to be related in the slightest. Not at all. In fact, it's better. It's much better if it's not. Excuse me. So we're going to put this picture of this bovine up here in the corner. Next thing we're going to do is grab something also completely unrelated. This. I don't know what this is. Zamponia, I think. We're going to grab that and copy that and paste that into Photoshop as well. Cool. So we're doing pretty well. And also this picture of this German pretzel thing. I'm a big fan of pretzels, and I want that to be the part of the work, the part of this piece it's coming out through me saying, hey, I like pretzels. I want you to know it, and if you don't agree with me, I'll probably shoot you. And that's basically what I want to try to get a point my point across in this piece. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to label our layers. So this is Washington, okay? And then we also have the bovine. So this is bovine. And this is the Zamponia guy. So we're just going to call him, let's see, Flute Man. And then we have the pretzel, which is going to be delicious. Okay, so now that we have our labels, our layers labeled, we can actually get started. The first thing we're going to do is take the bovine and put that on the bottom. We want it to be under all the other images because we are going to make it a lot larger. What we need to do is turn off these layers so we can actually see what we're doing. We're going to take this bovine and stretch him out. There we go. And some of you might be saying, wait, I'm sorry, I just thought I knew from a class or just general knowledge and not being a complete imbecile that if you stretch a pixel image, it will become pixelated and not look as good. Okay, let me tell you something. Wherever you heard that from, that's a lie. What you really need to do is just make it as big as possible. There you go, and you can actually move it however you want it. We're doing pretty good right now. Good. And yeah, okay, it may not look quite as crisp and clear, but who cares, really? I mean, it's art. It can be whatever the crap I want it to be. If I want it to look like this, then it's going to look like that. However, some of you might be saying, no, I'd like it to look a little bit more crisp. Okay, well, they make this really great filter. If you come over here under filter, sharpen, the unsharp mask. There, automatically, it looks amazing. You can adjust the amount and the radius with this thing and the threshold, and you can turn it into some awesome piece of work. So if we bring our amount up with the radius up, you're going to see it's way sharper now. Look at that. I mean, it's you can't even fathom how much better that looks. Now you can raise the threshold and it will reduce the amount, but what you want to do is keep threshold on 0 all of the time. Once again, before crappy and pixelated, you guys are complaining. After, it's practically a radioactive cow. We definitely want to keep it looking like this. So we're going to go ahead and hit OK. The next thing we're going to want to do is move on to the next part of the image, and that's going to be our Washington layer. Now this is going to, oh piss, I moved the layer. So we're going to hit Command Z. There we go. So make sure we have this one selected. What we want to do is use his face because everything else in the picture is dull. And this is pretty much a terrible painting. I've painted better things than this every day in my free time. I usually do at least 10 of these. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab the elliptical marquee tool and we're going to just highlight his face. Just highlight just like that. There we go. Looks good. You want to make sure your feather is on. I'm using 25. You use whatever the crap you want. And we're going to hit Command J and make it into a separate layer. Now we can delete this Washington layer and we have his face in a separate layer. We're going to place that over the bovine and we're going to make that a lot larger so it's right, almost looks like we have a George Washington cow. And that's what this piece is going to be called unless I change it, which I may do. So now that we have George Washington cow, who is looking quite fetching, I must say, we want to move on to the next image, which is this flute thing. Not really sure what my plans are for the flute thing, but it would be safe to assume that we need the flute thing and not the guy. So let's go ahead and zoom in here, and let's cut out this flute thing. For that, I'm going to use the pen tool. So we hit P and switch over to the pen tool. Let's go ahead and cut this out. We want to take our time and be really careful to make sure we get all the edges and not rush through this because that's going to create a really crappy product, and that's something I never want to do. I always want to take my time, make sure I'm getting all the edges looking good. Now when we get to this hand part, just imagine that you know where it's at. Just keep moving and everything will be fine. There we go. Okay, so now that we've got that cut out, we're going to hit Make Selection, hit OK, and make that a separate layer and delete the original. There we go. So now we have the flute thing. Now the problem you're probably going to be saying is, oh man, you got like the hands. That seems bad. Yeah, it does seem bad. You should have been more careful. However, I'm going to use the clone stamp tool and bring this up a bit and then mark this and see if I can't make this look a little better on the correct layer. Yes. Okay, there we go. Much better. So let's grab this and just kind of do this right here. There we go. Good. And we need to do that over there too. So let's just grab this. Okay, looking nice. No one's going to notice. Perfect. Okay, so that looks pretty amazing. So let's just grab this and we're going to put this up at his mouth. So what this piece is really saying is, I'm George Washington. I am part animal. I am the beef is really what this piece is about. It's about the Native Americans and the war and musical interest and creativity. That's pretty much what it's about. The problem is we're not drawing enough attention to this, which is a problem. We need to make the background just a little blurry. There's a few ways to do that. I'm going to show you a real easy way. So let's click on the bovine and jump over here to the smudge tool. Let's get a really big thing right here and just barely move that. There we go. Let's move it a little more. And a little more. Excellent. So now we're putting the focus on this, which is what we want to do, and we're doing pretty well. So the last thing is this pretzel image. Pretzel image is going to be really easy to cut out. We can just switch over to our wand tool and cut that sucker out. Bam. So now we have this wonderful pretzel. You're probably saying, well, there's still a little white rim. That's not a problem because what we're going to do is double click this and actually go to outer glow and just bring that up. Okay, so now we have this Super Saiyan pretzel thing. We want to make it look as if, I don't know, that he's taking a bite out of it. So we're going to switch over to our eraser and just take a big old bite right out of that pretzel. Mmm. Sorry, I got hungry. So let's maybe connect this uh, via the tail area here, and we can just make that we can make that fit even better. We can just kind of cut out some edges here, and I'm gonna admit that looks pretty good. We can nudge that into place. Perfect. That's looking pretty fantastic. At this point, I would say that we're pretty much done. What we really need to do is sign our name. So let's switch over here to our text tool, Stephen George, down in the corner. That's how you'd normally do it if you're boring. What we want to do is make sure that the people who are looking at this piece know who we are, because more important than the art is the person behind the art. So let's make sure that we have our name giant across this cow here, and what you want to do is open the blending options, because that is where the real magic is formed with text, and that is how you're going to get to the most important tool in Photoshop, which is bevel. Once you get to bevel, you're going to want to crank this stuff up. You want to make it look as three-dimensional as possible, because the more three-dimensional your stuff looks, that means it's better. So if it's looking like this, how it's all three-dimensional, like you could touch it. I feel like I can touch this right now. That's good stuff. You can also change the style. Emboss is wonderful, wonderful. We can crank the size up on there. Crank the depth isn't really doing anything because that's how deep it is. It's just so much depth. So that's looking great right there. We're going to go over here to the gradient overlay. The best one is angle, and we're going to change this to a rainbow, because that's looking nice. Look at that. That is looking so nice. You can change the scale, which is probably not going to do anything because we're on angle. We could also try reflected. Ooh, ooh, oh my goodness. That's fantastic. Okay, so pretty good. Pretty good, I have to say. Is there anything else I would add? I don't know. Let's come over here to maybe filters and look around. We have artistic filters, blur filters, brush strokes, distort. Mm. Let's see. Glass. That looks pretty nice. We also have the noise, pixelate, render. There we go. Render. Render contains lens flare. Lens flare is going to be oh so important. Okay, there we go. Much better. So now we're just going to put the lens flare where we want it to be. Probably where it counts would be here. And we want the brightness to be very high, because it's going to be a very beautiful cow. And we can actually choose the lens type. This is probably the best one because it has the trail, and the trail is the most important part. So let's hit OK. Wow. Wow. This is pretty much the point at which I'm seeing the patriotic feel. I'm feeling the creativity of the flute, and just the um, very cultural roots of the bovine, combined with this beautiful lens flare. I'm really touched, more than anything. I'm really just kind of in awe of what we've created. So the next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to go to Save, and then Save for Web and Devices. And this is going to let us see our image and save it with the type of file type that we want to use. So we're going to use the best file type. The best file type for anything is pretty much going to be GIF. Now the 128 dither, that's going to give you a huge file size, like 855.9K. That's insane. What you want to do is come down here to 32, 32 is going to make it look way better. Plus, it gives it this really rustic look. We've decreased our file size by half, which is, great. You can even lower the colors more. You can lower the dither more. A lot of stuff you can do. Oh, sorry, going the wrong way. So we're going to just say that this is probably our completed product. So let's go ahead and hit save and save that out to the downloads folder. And then let's open this up in Preview, which is the program used for opening GIF files. Wow. Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and leave this file for download in the video description box. So if you want a really great desktop wallpaper, this is it. You notice it's very, we don't have a whole lot of tones going on in the picture, and that's good because you want to make sure that your desktop background doesn't have a whole lot going on because it's distracting while you work. This is going to be the exact opposite of distracting, not going to get in your way at all. And when you see it, you're going to be very inspired. You're going to do better work because of this. And I hope that you learned something because I'm a fantastic teacher. And this will not be the end of this at all. I know that you guys probably really enjoyed this. I'm thinking about maybe just doing this all the time instead of doing Let's Plays because this is way better. I'm actually teaching you guys how to do stuff. And I'm sure we'll do more of these in the future. And don't forget, you can make multiple copies. That's also a good idea. I mean, there's just so many good things you can do. Just the list goes on and on and on. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me today, and be sure to join me next time when we do another exciting episode of Stephen Plays Photoshop. See you guys next time.